Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and today's Thursday. So, Johnny Litecoin's joining me, and we are talking about what a scam, what isn't a scam, and some DeFi strategy, as well as having crypto in your own possession and why that's so important. So, stay with us. Give this a like, share this video, and let's get some more information out there to keep everybody safe in this space. Hey, Johnny, thanks for joining me. I'm excited to talk today a little bit about keeping people safe in this space by having possessions in your own asset, having assets in your own possession. Possessions also in your own assets? Maybe. No,
Assets in your own, yeah, that's
in your own possession. Let's try that one.
one of those days, Lisa. It's one of those days, I guess, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, I just got off of a Twitter Spaces with BitcoinDay.io, and I'm going to be speaking at their event on March 26th in Oklahoma City, and I'm really excited about it. And I was just thinking when we were chatting just before we got started, it's something that would be a great addition. Maybe when they come to Jersey, you can help and talk to them. We're talking about how Bitcoin is like the worst thing for scammers to use because it was intended to be open so that people could see transactions. And, in the news over last summer, there were those, couple of hacks and, scams that where they, asked for Bitcoin and were holding what were the hijacks? And they asked for
things.
Yeah, and they were asking for Bitcoin, and then thank goodness law enforcement tracked them down and got their Bitcoin back. And it just sounded kind of hokey because when you know what Bitcoin is, you know that can be tracked. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. There's a lot of misinformation out there with Bitcoin. This was always my thing. Ever since I got involved with Bitcoin, they always thrown around the term money laundering, and I always said, well, yeah, I know all about money laundering, and it doesn't seem like this Bitcoin thing would be a good tool for it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It solves the problems of traditional money laundering. Like, money is able to be laundered because the system goes invisible, and it's like there's all this hocus pocus. So Bitcoin being so transparent, I always say my hope, my end game would be I want to be able to audit them, right? Let's make them settle into Bitcoin. Let's hold them accountable. Listen, government, you are spending this amount of money. We need transparency. Can you settle every day into the Bitcoin blockchain so we can validate what you're doing? I mean, that should be something that the people should be able to demand. Maybe not in the U.S. right now, but I think in a lot of countries that would be that doesn't seem so outlandish for people to demand that. They've been treated so bad, and hopefully, obviously, in the end game that would happen in the U.S.
Yeah, I think that's where that word cryptocurrency, the crypto part of that has been twisted and used to mislead people about cryptocurrency or Bitcoin specifically, is that it's cryptic and that it's coded to be hidden or used on the dark web. Well, no, it's actually transparent and anyone can see transactions. And that's where when I was freaking out the other day, because I was like, oh, in my DeFi, I think I lost my Bitcoin. And you're like, no, you were drunk DeFiing, and you had too much Cheetos, and you moved
I
your
tracked it down for you, and I was like,
yes,
wait a
I
second.
moved I was getting a little overconfident with my early DeFi, and I moved my wrapped Bitcoin like too many times because I
The
wanted to put it in
pattern of what you were
Lend, and then I
doing. I was
put
like,
it in
were you
Swap.
drinking?
Yeah, I put it in Swap, and then I decided to put it back in Lend. And then I decided, no, I'm going to make a pairing with it with something else. And then I don't know what I did with it. Anyway, I moved it all around, did the hokey
No,
pokey with it.
that's the cool thing. And that's actually what attracted me to it as a payments processor. I actually love the fact that I said, wait a minute, if there's an issue with the transaction, I don't need to go to anybody. I can actually just go in with the transaction ID or the address and look things up and track it and see what I need to figure out. And because a lot of times as a payments guy, people always call us up, a payment didn't go through. We have to like dig out and give them information. But then a lot of times on our end in the traditional system, there's all these things that talk to each other, but then they could never give you the info. And then stuff will go missing. No one would give you the info. I'd be on the phone and I would get passed back to myself. And
Really?
that would make me freak out when they'd be like, yeah, sir, hold on. And I'd pick up the other phone. I'd be like, hello.
They're like, hold on, Johnny has the answer. And you're like, I am Johnny.
I am John. So
yeah,
Bitcoin and Litecoin is great at one thing, censorship resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And this also is what attracted me to it. Now, this was great for my end as a payments processor because I said, wow, censorship resistance. Now I can tell somebody a way to take payment from anybody in the world, and I don't have to worry about them losing the money to a dispute, fraud, or a chargeback. And that was the invention of Bitcoin in the beginning. So that was like, that's what it's good for. And then there was always a lot of this misleading stuff out there. And, people, and then I was like, well, sure, it's used on the dark net for now, right? I said, because a lot of the people don't realize it, and they don't realize how transparent a lot of it is, but the censorship resistance nature of it made it where people operating on the dark net they go to the best available form of money. So they were using cash being sent in bags back and forth. Like that was like a method of payment on the dark net. So I always say nobody tells a criminal or a bad guy what to use. They're going to use the best available tool given to them. And usually it's censorship resistance in a theft or something like that. That's why we saw Bitcoin, if you'd see it used, demanded in like a ransomware, because they can't actually physically demand it through any other payment form. So Bitcoin is what worked in that scenario. So that's why we would see it demanded there. But as far as once they receive the money, people are like, oh, what's this invisible money? They're going to be able to launder it through the system. That's where it's not doable because of the transparency of it. Mm-hmm. And like people don't understand like what money laundering is. Money laundering means you're trying to take money that's made from illegal gains, usually like drug dealing or something of that nature, right? And you make it seem like it came through a legitimate business. And you're inflating the sales of that legitimate business through money that came in illegally. So you're laundering it through that legal business, making the sales seem higher there. And this way, you as the drug dealer or criminal now can get lending. You can get a better mortgage. You could do all that stuff, right?
Oh, okay.
So that's money laundering. Like, and that is what it is, right? And so I always said to people, well, how is it good to do it through Bitcoin or Litecoin when there's no like reporting mechanism? Like, if you're trying to make stuff go into the regular system, you need the reporting structure of the banks that puts all that into like these automatic reporting requirements. And then that's where people always would like change the subject in the argument. I was like,
they're like, well, not that part, Johnny. We're not
that
talking about
part. And I
anymore.
was like, do you even understand like what this is? Like
Yeah.
people throw around words and have no clue what it means. And even like a lot of the people like that are like monitoring this, they don't even know what it means. Like, no, that's not money laundering. I'm like, yeah, that's laundering funds. Like that's like, and then they'll be like, no, it's this. I'm like, no, that's actually like something different you're talking about. So what they don't want to let on, because of the censorship resistance nature of it, right? They can't take the funds from you, right? And now this, well, I said before, yes, this could be used by people. In some cases, criminals could use this to their advantage because obviously they're always going to use the best available thing. But what they don't want us to know, they don't really want to distract us from, is that we, the people, the populace, the masses, by understanding the censorship resistant nature of this, and that means when like this weird and people say, get your assets in your own possession, it means if you actually have the assets in your possession, meaning you hold the private key on that Bitcoin, and we'll explain what that means. But if you do that, or that Litecoin, it's censorship resistant. It's not good for fraud. It's not good for laundering. It's not good for all stuff, but it is censorship resistant. So you're going to be able to protect yourself from having your funds seized. And that's what I always said. That's the big 800-pound gorilla in the room that they don't want to let us know. They want to tell us about everything else. Because then if people are like, wait a minute, isn't this how it was supposed to be? Weren't people always innocent till proven guilty? Like, how are you just able to go in and like take our stuff? Like we can't defend ourselves with a lawyer. It's like, and then they laugh about it. They're like, ah, ha, ha, ha. Like, yep, we took your money, yada, yada, yada. So that's
just for 6 months though,
Yeah, just for 6
or
months.
until you can get an attorney to force us to,
So that's the whole like thing that they don't want you to know. So what does it mean, get your assets in your own possession? What does this mean, hold the private key? So when you buy Bitcoin, you're buying it almost all the time through a centralized exchange, okay? And legally in the US, when you buy Bitcoin or Litecoin, they do what's called KYC. This is know your customer, right? They ask you for your information. Who bought that Bitcoin or Litecoin, right? Now, a lot of people, they don't like the KYC. On my end, I look at it as the fact that they require the KYC. It means this is something that they could never ban or try to seize from you or make illegal ever, because they legally made you go through this thing and monitor you doing it. So they were trying to say, well, now it's bad. It's like, wait a second. You did all this, know your customer and all this stuff, and we're monitoring us the whole time. How's it bad now?
We were above board the whole time. You knew what was going on.
So that's my kind of 2 cents on that. And I always say that gives you legal title to your Bitcoin or Litecoin. Because then you actually, like, if you wanted to, like, you to approve you had it as an asset for any type of lending.
Now there's companies that you can use your Bitcoin to get a mortgage. There's mortgage companies now that you can use crypto as an asset.
Exactly. So you buy your Bitcoin through one of these centralized places, right? And they obviously want you to keep your Bitcoin in there. They make it nice and cozy for you. Coinbase, Voyager. Hell, Voyager gives you big interest to hold your crypto. Gemini, a lot of these places are paying interest, right? Or they'll let you stake on there and do different things. These are centralized exchanges, all right? Meaning that you are not in control of the asset. A third party is a centralized party. So when BICs and other people say, get your assets in your own possession, they mean to buy them on that exchange, but then transfer them to your own private wallet. Okay? And what that means is a wallet that when you set it up or downloaded it, it provided you with seed words. And that's 12 or 24 seed words or keywords, right?
Is
And
it
then
always only 12 or 24?
there could be 18 sometimes.
Okay.
And it's usually either 12, 18, or 24. And
And
now
some
the key is,
wallets allow you to make up the words.
yeah, or most use that random number random like
Okay.
generator or
Random
whatever.
word generator. Okay.
Now the key is with this. Say you have Exodus wallet and you're like, well, Johnny, what if something happens to the Exodus wallet company? They don't have your funds. That's what's important with this. All right. Because you have the 12 seed words, those seed words will generate your private key. All right. You could, if Exodus wallet decides to take their wallet down and not support it anymore and yada, 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 and you can't use it anymore, you can use those seed words and download a different wallet and your money's still there. Your money's on the blockchain.
This
Right?
was such an education for me when I was messing around with One Wallet and doing DeFi. We did the DeFi lesson. Then couldn't get one of the coins. I couldn't remember. And you had me open up my MetaMask wallet, but I used my seed phrase from my One wallet on my MetaMask. And I opened it up and there were my coins. And I was like,
yeah.
what is going on here? And even though, I've been in crypto for years, but you still get caught into that old mindset of, no, this is my wallet and these things are here. And it's like, oh no, I know that they are on the blockchain. So
We get comfortable with it.
Yeah, your wallet is just a window. It's like if you had a window or an app onto the blockchain and think of the blockchain as being the browser. And then there's different chains. And I don't want to confuse people, but that may be going into different things. But then there's different chains that your coins are on. So it depends on which chain your coins
That's
are
important
on.
too, because a lot of people, that's confusing. So that's a great point, Lisa. There's different blockchains. Bitcoin is its own blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
Litecoin is its own blockchain. Ethereum is its own blockchain. Now, a lot of coins are Ethereum-based tokens. So most coins out there are built on the Ethereum blockchain. And they were usually what's called ERC20 tokens.
Uh-huh.
But then there's other coins that are their own blockchain. Like I said, Bitcoin is the most powerful blockchain out there. Litecoin is our favorite blockchain out there. It's the most usable, most practical blockchain. So every blockchain kind of specializes in something a little different. Some like Ethereum, some blockchains are better for smart contracts, they're better for building applications on top of. Bitcoin or Litecoin strive to be censorship resistant money. They're not trying to be a smart contract platform. But the important thing, we're moving into a world where censorship is taking over. Seize the truckers' money. Go after these people's money, right? And they're weaponizing the financial system and the banks against us. So as they do that, they're going to weaponize crypto exchanges against us too. And it's not their fault. We can't look at them and say, oh, they're bad. They're bad. they have to do this because they're licensed in those countries, and that's the rules and laws. And if they say this is sanctioned or this is this, they have to do it if they're holding those funds. So that's why, like the guy from Kraken, Jesse Powell,
Jeremy
guy's
or
name
Jesse. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
was like, get your crypto off this platform. Because if you have it in a wallet like Exodus, even though Exodus is a company that maintains that wallet software, they don't have control of the crypto. Right. You do as the user, you hold the private keys. So if the government comes to them and says, you have to freeze these wallets, they can't.
Even if they were to take their whole company down, people still have their seed phrase that then they could go to another platform where they could open another wallet on that same chain and open up, and there are their coins. Yeah.
So it's it's definitely important to know about this, and it's important to know how to do a transaction, know how to send a transaction, know how to receive a transaction, because you don't want to be learning this stuff as the ship is actually underwater and it's evident to everybody. Right now, the ship's sinking, right? But a lot of people still don't realize the ship's sinking. They're sitting there saying, no, Johnny, I stand with Ukraine and I'm vaccinated and I'm all this stuff, right? They're not, their eyes off the
dumbest guy in the room. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're off their eyes off the ball of the ship is sinking. The financial systems is blowing up around you. So you don't want to learn this stuff once everybody realizes this. You want to learn it now before everybody realizes. I always say it's like the Titanic, and it's such a good explanation. Would you have wanted to try to get on a lifeboat in the beginning, or would you have wanted to get onto that last lifeboat and everyone on that ship's trying to get on it?
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Out of luck at that.
I mean, you have to do is look at the pictures and the videos of the people standing in line in Russia when they were, trying to get their dollars out because the ruble was going to nothing, or the people in Ukraine because of the crisis. The people are the one that are facing the crisis, regardless of what's really happening, whatever everyone wants to believe anywhere. The individuals that are there, the people are the ones suffering. And so watching the people in the mall down the hall, where do you want to be in that line? I want to be at the front of that line. Yeah. And that's why we want to be in crypto, and we want to have possession. That's what those people were doing in that line at that ATM, is trying to get possession of their assets. And that's what we're telling you now is don't wait until everybody's worried trying to get their stuff off of Coinbase, because I can tell you, and we had friends in the chat talking about how the banks are already limiting them, telling them you can only take out $3,000. And even at that, you had to give them a week's notice. If that's not a warning shot over the bow or across the bow, start getting your stuff in your own possession, people. So getting
at least a lot of it. And like I always say, like, you don't want to have none of it in your own possession. You don't want to be the people or the person that bought Bitcoin and Litecoin or Ethereum or these coins at these great prices, and you're like, yeah, but I had it on exchange and they wouldn't let me get it out of there, and they took it from me in the end. It's like, so I always say, like, always be hedging. Now, I say, you want to keep some on the exchange, you want to get some interest, and you say, hey, Johnny and Lisa, you guys are conspiracy people. I don't think this is going to happen, what you're saying. It doesn't seem likely. Then keep some on there, but at least have some in your own possession, because that's the point of this whole thing. And then I think at least if you have most of your crypto in your own possession, at least you'll be good if the ship goes down. Maybe you didn't have it all, but you had most of it at least, or at least half of it, or you at least have
what do they say? Whatever your risk is, whatever you're willing to risk. That's the kind of thing you have to make. And those are all those decisions. This is where being personally responsible for your wealth, your health, and your personal safety. This is what I keep going back to over and over with people. We're here to give, information and education and entertainment, but you guys, it all comes down to somebody making those decisions for themselves and then taking that responsibility and saying, like, no, Lisa and Johnny gave me information, but ultimately I made those decisions for myself and my family, and I'm willing to pay the price. And whether I win, then I get to own all of that win. And if I lose, I own all of that lose. And no one else is responsible for that. So I think we're at that place. We're just here to like share our opinions and our experiences, our information that we have, and that's what we're trying to do.
Now, a lot of people say, like, what if they turn the internet goes down, or the power goes down, and sure, it's obviously a potential possibility. Now, I don't think it's likely in any realm of possibility that the internet goes down across the whole globe simultaneously. I don't see that being a likely scenario. It could have, anything could happen. All options on the table, but I just don't see that being.
Well, and even if it does, then everyone's in the same position.
Then nothing works. So then exactly. So I don't see that as being a likely scenario. So what happens is, what I do seeing as being a likely scenario, they can take the internet down maybe in a region or in an area, right? Maybe in a country, who knows, right? But Bitcoin, Litecoin, how it's designed to work, it routes to the nodes and the miners that are online. That's how the transactions route. It's always going to go to what's online. That's how like distributed ledger technology works. So unless they take it down, the internet down across the whole world, then Bitcoin blockchain, Litecoin blockchain is still ticking. Now, if they take the entire internet down everywhere, nothing works. Your bank account doesn't work. Your credit cards don't work. Nothing's working. Your email don't work. Nothing's working. You're going to have a lot more issues at that point in time than Bitcoin, right? And we always say, we hope you have a little silver or gold in your own possession, because I'll tell you what, that's been money for 5,000 years. So in a time like that, that's when you say, hey, gee, good thing I bought a few silver coins or bars and paid with Litecoin that time when the market pumped, and I wasn't such a greedy, you know what, and hoarded every coin and yelled at Johnny Litecoin when he said, it's pay with Litecoin and learn how to do it. And I said, no, I pay with my credit card. That's the best way. So
who is it that you can buy? You can buy silver on
any precious metals dealer except
any precious metals dealer with Litecoin. Okay.
Sure. So any precious metals dealer does. It's actually cheaper than paying with a credit card.
Yeah, I know it's cheaper to buy with Litecoin.
It's the best way to buy precious metals online, because it's they'll let you buy it for a little cheaper if you do a wire transfer, but then you have to pay to do the wire transfer on your end. So then it's
like $30 or something.
That wipes out whatever money you're saving there. And then they don't send it instantly. Like, it takes a little bit to like clear and stuff. So then they if you send them Bitcoin, like your order will send out right away. So, all right. So that's that. So if you're in that Mad Max world, they took the old internet down. We hope you have a few silver coins or something lying around. Now, here's another thing I'll challenge people on, right? A lot of people say, Johnny, I got all my constitutional money, my old dimes and quarters. Well, the issue then would be most those aren't easily recognizable by the common populace that's out there. You go to the average person, average business owner, you're going to have to explain to them those coins have real silver in them. What's the value? They're looking at it as a quarter. it's going to be very hard to put that in their mind. So that's why I would say that as good as that money is, I would say like little bars of silver would be better. Or like,
I guess because remember your internet's down, so you can't
yeah.
back yourself up with a link.
And that's why I always love my Litecoin silver rounds, because it just said
yeah.
Litecoin on it. It wasn't like a dollar amount or anything. And then
Interesting.
so it's like, what's it worth? Well, it's got the silver value in there, yada, yada, yada. So that would be my thing for that scenario. And just get your stuff in your own possession. Another thing is, we've talked about it. People say, well, Johnny, I'm good. I got all my gold tucked away in my safety deposit box in the bank.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Oh, great idea. What if the bank closes up? How could that happen? They'd say. Well, Google search it or look it up online. It's happened at a lot of banks.
Lebanon, Greece, lots of countries here recently, even Turkey.
You should be good, though. I'm sure they'll make a special exception to let you into your safe deposit box and get your valuables out of there. I'm sure that's
just for you.
Just for you. Yeah, of course they're going to let you do that. My God, of course they'll let you do that. They're not, they always have your best interests at heart. So before,
I mean, they always have those little cookies sitting out and free coffee. So
and lollipops for your kids.
And lollipops for your kids.
I always
treats for your dogs.
My line used to always be, when I first came on Twitter, nothing that they do ever has your best interests at heart. And it couldn't be more true, as like now people are like starting to realize it, like, wow, look what they're doing to us. But I was saying it before it was cool, like before anybody realized it. I realized it from the
wasn't there a song? There was an old song like that. I was country when country wasn't cool. You were crypto when crypto wasn't cool.
Yeah.
That's an old song.
Yeah, it's a good song though, right?
I'm dating myself. Yeah.
So guys, so like, just like to recap that, there's the big difference. Just think about it. When you look at your crypto, do you have a username and a password, or is it seed words that you have? If you have a username and a password, that means that, now remember, username and password, the wallet itself can have a password or PIN. That locks it on that device. That's different from the seed words. The seed words is your backup. So are you going to a website and logging in, or do you eBay has those crypto silver rounds? Yeah, nice. So
if anybody's looking for the Litecoin silver rounds, because I didn't know where to get them either. So thank you, Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, they're good. They're cool to have, and it's as much as I like the old like constitutional money and always thought that's cool. Like
I never thought of that though. That people that aren't educated on it and aren't educated on the year, and then you're trying to prove it. Like if you don't have the internet up and you're trying to argue,
how could you even look exactly how they won't be able to validate it?
They would just go, that's a quarter. And you're like, no, it's not a quarter. It's silver. And they're like, that's a quarter. And it'd be like trying to argue with,
I'll throw another thing out there for
you.
Say you had a bunch of this stuff and you said, well, I'm going to pass this down to my kids, my grandkids or whatever. Now say your kids and grandkids aren't as into precious metals as you are.
If they didn't know.
And they probably see it and say, oh, grandpa, grandma had a bunch of old quarters, and just go, they probably bring them to Coinstar or something and dump them through there or whatever. And who knows? Who knows what they do with them?
Surely those Coinstar machines have like something in them that can tell the weight and like dumps all the silver into a separate bucket. I'm sure they only pay you a quarter for them. But they probably separate some.
Nothing they do ever has your best interest at heart, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No.
So it's all stuff that like to think about, and it's stuff to think about ahead of time. So don't be afraid of crypto, the internet turning off, because again, it's just think about it. What will everything look like at that point in time? And the point of crypto is it gets us through to the, isn't that a song? Get us through to the other side.
Now you're going to start getting me banned. You and Westwood singing. Yeah, I'm going to get in trouble. All the songs.
They need to get us through to the other side, though, because it's whatever financial system they put out, it'll be more compatible with cryptos. So even as bad as it is going to be, it'll have complete compatibility with cryptocurrency. The new money, it will be a cryptographic-based system. You know, obviously, it'll probably be CBDCs based on some type of blockchain.
They're saying digital ledger technology, DLT, is what I've been hearing, the term that I've been hearing thrown around. Digital ledger technology. And the CBDC, we've heard central bank digital currency or digital ledger technology. I guess we already have digital ledger technology, right? Because there's not those dollars aren't actually paper dollars. Is it distributed ledger technology? Okay.
And that's the point. I guess the advantage of that is that right now in the banking system, they'll say, oh, that's my buzzer for my meat. I got to go in a second.
Okay. But that's different from blockchain. That is not blockchain. Distributed ledger technology.
Distributed ledger usually is. It doesn't have to be blockchain, but blockchains are distributed ledgers.
Are a type
there's not one centralized, like, set place of failure. Like if the bank says there's smoke in a server room, that's why you can't access your funds right now. Like you can burn down a Bitcoin like mining farm and it's not going to have any effect or impact on the Bitcoin network. The hash rate might drop a tiny bit if it's a huge mining farm, but the Bitcoin network still works just the same. You know.
So what would another example of distributed ledger technology that's not blockchain be?
That's a good question, Lisa. I guess oh, like the movie thing, like BitTorrent or something like that. The movie sharing thing, like was it BitTorrent? That was like the first, like a big like distributed technology.
Distributed ledger technology.
Different things where like nodes run on different computers and it's distributed. Like so
interesting.
But next. We didn't get to it, and I got to go because I got to.
That's okay. We'll get to it next week. We'll get to it next week.
We'll
talk about DeFi strategy.
DeFi strategy, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, you have a great dinner, and thank you to everybody in the chat and all the great contribution of information. You guys are always wonderful. And tomorrow we will be on with Westwood talking about the meetup. There's information scrolling by. There's more information in the description of this video, as well as links to join me on Crypto Confidential and on my Patreon, where there's classes and a great DeFi class with Johnny, as well as a wallets class. If you're new to crypto and need to know how to download a wallet, what is money, what we're talking about. And there's also opportunities to have one-on-one meetings with me through my Patreon and get all those classes. So you guys check that out. I will see you guys soon. I will be at Bix Weir's Road to Ruta event in Mesa, Arizona on March 19th. Nice. And we'll be streaming live before that with Westwood. So big March. Come to Oklahoma City on March 25th and 26th. Lots of times to meet me. The dogs are barking. It must be time for the meet. Time for the meet. You guys have a great day. Take care. Bye.
Bye, guys.